Welcome to fulfilling this belly sting. A show dedicated to aligning a journey to a better mental health using the understandings of the ancient Norse. Join us each weekday morning at 7 a.m. Alaska time. Today, someone's little girl, daughter, sister, girlfriend, fiance, wife, cousin, mother, auntie, grandmother, great grandmother, elder, disappears, shattering, a family, a community, the world. There is something we can all do. Remember them. Look at that.
God Morgan, and happy Tears Day to you. Today, we embrace courage and justice, and we'll talk about those and how they can affect our everyday life in just a minute. Before we get started today, as always, I want to give a huge shout out to all of you who have liked, followed, and subscribed us on any one of the platforms that we produce this show on. I am deeply appreciative, and I really appreciate you helping us to spend this or send this message all around the world. So I really, really do say talk. If you haven't had a chance yet, you need to please like, follow, subscribe any one of these platforms, and by all means help us to promote this message far and wide. Help it to get out there to those who may need it. So again, talk. I want to give a huge shout out this morning to my friends and family at New Reality TV. newrealitytv.com is a new streaming channel that's available for you to check out, and it is packed full with many different perspectives that offer us that piece of intellect that may provide us with just the right piece that we need to obtain or maintain our mental space, especially in these modern day times where stress and anxiety is abound, right? So we really want to use any tools at our disposal that can help us to reobtain our mental space. For those of you who may be interested in learning more about me, my messages, my teachings, any of the shows, all the information, including contacting me and opening a dialogue to talk about how you can obtain or maintain your mental space, check out my website, norsewhispers.com, and norsewhispers.com/coaching for those of you who might be interested in finding a life coach. So just check it out. This morning we're offline again with TikTok, trying to figure out the technical mumbo jumbo there. So our live is restricted just to Facebook. I hope you'll join us there for the live chat. Today we're talking about tear, and what a great subject it is today in the modern day of embracing those traits that Tyr taught us. Now, who is Tyr, and where does he come from, so to speak? Well, Tyr is a god that was recognized by the Germanic tribes before the Norse. So they're migrating north from the lands of the Celts, right about the same time of the Roman Empire was expanding to the west. So these Germanic tribes recognized Tyr as being one of the main gods that they recognized because of what he represented. He represented justice and law. He was the balance, the harmony, right? So when we talk about the rune of Tiwaz, Tiwaz, of course, being the rune of Tyr, it represents honor and even-handedness, balance, and certainly justice and law. Now, equality was something that could have fit in there as well. We have to remember when we're kind of embracing this idea of justice and obtaining balance in our lives. In many cases, this whole idea of equality doesn't fit in it. Equality is simply one of those I need to keep up the Joneses things. It's equal for me than it is for them. It's equal for, that's not balance. We each have our own path. We each have our own journey that we'll go through from the time we're born to the time we pass. So that journey is uniquely you. It has nothing to do with that other person. Therefore, the rules of equality don't apply to both of you. It applies to one or the other. So justice, your justice, is simply obtaining that which you should be at, you could have, right? It doesn't mean that you get your whatever accomplishment, next level because they did, right? Or that we have to achieve that level because they did. That's equality thinking, and that's not balance. Remember, balance applies to us, intrinsic. It's not extrinsic. Balance is inside, not outside. So when we think of justice and law and the obtaining this balance, we're talking about really obtaining it in the acquisition, if you will, of our authentic self, becoming who we really are. When we recognize that our journey cannot be measured against someone else's, our journey is uniquely ours, and therefore the milestones along our journey are simply that. They're milestones on our journey. Our milestones don't measure to anyone else's. We have our own journey. We each have our own trip. Okay? So when we're thinking about justice and we're thinking about some of these other concepts, even the word equality kind of torques it to a place where it's saying I have to be equal to this person, or I have to meet these criterias or these standards at which to be successful or happy or content or whatever, at peace. That's not the idea of balance, nor should it be your quest to meet their criteria. This is measuring you against their bar. It's using their measuring stick to measure who you are. Oh, well, to achieve harmony, I have to use this. No. To achieve harmony, we have to become our authentic selves. We have to. We cannot measure ourselves against someone else's measuring stick to achieve ourselves, to become what we're supposed to be. It would be very akin as to say is to finding your pet dog and saying, oh, well, yeah, you're a dog, but because we live in this society and you need to dress every morning, get in clothes and put clothes on, and you will do the same things that us humans do. That's not even feasible. But again, that's the mentality here, is that we're saying, oh, just because you have this other thing doesn't mean that you're not going to be held to the same standards that I am. So my dog will have to get a driver's license, and he will have to, apply for unemployment or whatever. No, that's not even, but that's what you're doing to yourself. You're saying, because this person over here has, this particular skill set, this particular path in life, that they're more successful than I am, and yet we're two different paths. Yeah, we're both human, but their path could be to do something totally different than what we're destined to do, than what our path, what our journey, what our evolution calls for. Okay? They could be on a completely different path. So measuring yourself against someone else is setting yourself up for failure. It's setting yourself up for negative energies to influence you in an unproductive way. To become a productive, successful, happy, harmonious person, we achieve our authenticity, our authentic self. The courage to reach through the ego and the bravado and all of the stuff that we're trying to meet up to these other people's standards. We got to reach through all of that. Get way down to the bottom of the well. Now, for those of you who have been listening to the show, you know about the well of the self. This is a story told by my ancestors to identify kind of how we look at ourselves, and certainly our emotional states. A large water well, half filled with water, and at the bottom of this well was a beautiful mosaic of rocks. These beautiful rocks represented those core values or virtues that we have. Us, no one else. Some of these virtues may be have been provided by other people, but the collection and the way they're laying on the bottom of our well is unique to us. Each and every person has a different mosaic. Okay? You just do. You do because your DNA is different. You were born different. And that's okay. That's beautiful. They're different because you've had different influences and authority figures within your life who have provided you with some of their rocks. Okay? And you've expanded on those rocks and built on those rocks of our parents and maybe some other authoritative figures early in our lives. And we've laid this beautiful mosaic. Okay? We've built this. And we maintain it by constantly using tools of intrinsic reflection that can help us reevaluate each rock and to assure that our values align with what rocks are in our pool, or in the bottom of the well there, right? And we look at those rocks and we say, yeah, that's how I feel. That's what I want. That's who I want to be. Okay? And so we build this mosaic. That mosaic that makes you is different than the mosaic that makes me. Is my mosaic wrong? Is your mosaic wrong? No. They're different. And they're different for a reason. They're different because of the influential energies that we've had throughout our lifetimes. We've all traveled a different journey. Yeah, some of them may be similar. You may have siblings or really close cousins, and many of your rocks may be similar. But the word to identify here is the word similar. They're not identical, nor are they supposed to be. They're not supposed to be. You are an individual. You are unique. You are wonderful, right? The influences that you've had, and many times we say to ourselves, well, yeah, but the influences that I've had are negative. I've been very negative in my life, the negative part. Well, yes, I won't rule that out. But that negativity may have forced you to alter your path to become what you are. Okay? I think of my own life, where I've had drugs and alcohol, abuse, all of the things that we might look at as, oh, those are not needed, those are not wanted. Yet those events occurred to kind of drive my arrival at this point. Because I couldn't get here if I didn't have those. I'd be somewhere else. I'd be someone else. Right? So for you to get here, you had to go through those things. And yes, they were horrible. I don't discredit them. They were horrible that you had to go through. But think of what you've learned on our lives. We know now that if someone were to ask me, hey, what do you... No. Don't go there. Why? Because it's a dead-end street. Doesn't mean anything. Let it go. Learn from it and move on. And yes, I know some of these lessons may seem very, 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 very painful while we're going through them. But ultimately, the objective is to learn and guide our evolution towards where we're supposed to be. All right? We're going to take a real quick break. When we come back from break, I want to talk about using that courage, embracing the courage of Tyr as an example, and really embracing that to reveal the individuality that is you, because it's really cool. We'll be right back after this quick message.
In the air. The time is now.
We're all waking up.
We're waking up.
We're all waking up.
It's all shifting.
New vibrations.
It's you.
It's you.
It's me.
It's all of us.
Together.
A new time.
A new day.
A new energy.
A new energy.
New reality.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
Awaken with us.
newrealitytv.com.
Welcome back. Thank you for taking that quick break with me. And one of the questions that's come up that I think we should address is, many have asked me about kind of flavoring each of these days' discussions behind one of the gods or goddesses of the Norse belief system. And more importantly is, does one who's watching this, do you have to subscribe to the Norse legends and lore to use any of this? And that answer is no. You don't have to be a sworn Norse understanding or beliefs to recognize the steps necessary within the text of what my ancestors referred to as the legends and the lore. You don't have to believe in anything that you don't want to believe in. This is going to, remember, measuring ourselves against someone else. Are we a good enough pagan? Are we a good enough whatever other description people like using for non-subscribers of monotheism? It matters not. What matters is that you recognize the power of the self. You are a very powerful person right here. You control that narrative. No one else does. They can try. They can give us all kinds of influences. They can pass along their negativity. They can pass along all of this stuff. But ultimately, you're in charge. You get to make the decisions. You get to decide how you're going to feel. I know that sounds really weird because sometimes we have these events that occur in our lives and they seem to overwhelm us. And we maybe become saddened or angered or even those that elate, bring an overabundance of joy. But we get to control that narrative. We get to see our experience the way we want to. Okay? We don't have to be, if someone were to come to me and they were all very much upset and they were very saddened and very heartbroken because of their racist or sexist or any of the other isms. And they said, "Oh, you feel sorry for me. You have to feel sorry for me. You're a spiritual teacher." And I would tell them, "No, I don't. Because I don't subscribe to that nonsense. So I don't have to feel sorry for you. I don't have to do anything. I can feel sorry for you as a person, just not your beliefs, but I don't have to. If my, in the past, if say, at the time, my familiar past, and they moved on across the Rainbow Bridge, I would be saddened for a day, maybe, because I would recognize where they are and the value that they now are experiencing. I don't have to feel anything. I can choose to do that, but you're in control. And this goes to any kind of depression, any kind of anxiety. You get to make the choice. You get to decide. All of these influential energies coming at us, trying to influence us, trying to change us, trying to make us meet their criteria. We don't have to subscribe. We can just move right on, right along. We're on our own journey. We're on our own path. Our path cannot have the mile markers and the road signs for someone else's road. It wouldn't make sense. It would be very akin. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but there was a commercial on I think it was on TV. Yeah, I think it was on TV. And for those of you who have ever seen him, the actor who portrays Mayhem for one of the insurance companies. Anyway, it perfectly cast individual, by the way. But in this commercial, he's pretending that he is your navigation system, giving you directions. And of course, he turn left right now, and the guy turns left right now and drives off a cliff. And so, of course, the guy Mayhem, is, I hope you have insurance to cover this kind of thing. Well, if you had Allstate, that's who it is. It's Allstate Insurance. Anyway, he's driving. Although there's an individual driving the car, the driver of the car is so focused on what Mayhem, in this case, is saying, he's not paying attention to his own road. He's not watching his road. He's watching the community, societal road that this actor, Mayhem, is driving on, giving directions for. They don't apply. They don't apply. Our road, our path, our journey is different, unique to every individual who's ever had the life force within them. Blades of grass, trees, everything. Everything has their own journey, their own path, their own discovery, their own evolution. So it's really critical that we don't hold ourselves in measurement against someone else's measurement tool. Other, requirements, right? That we use the courage to step back and go, no, that's not who I am. It's not who I want to be, right? I want to be whatever, peaceful, loving, harmonious, whatever brings you true joy. When we decide to start being a little bit more self-centered, a little egocentric, a little bit maybe, and think about ourselves and our own path and our own healing, we're beginning to discover our authentic self. And as we discover that authentic self, we're going to figure out that our emotional states are going to be a little less driven by events and influences coming in from outside, and more about how we really feel, how we interpret this situation or this this individual, right? How do we feel about them? I'm always reminded when we start talking about evaluating the self to determine about letting others in. One of the things that I went through myself leading up to and including meeting and dating and certainly marrying in a fairly quick order my shield maiden was this idea that I needed to be on my path for me. Loving my shield maiden was next, but loving me came first. I had to love me. I had to find who I was, who my authentic self was. Now, it took me a long time to find it because I didn't want to find it. I was too busy subscribing to all the influences, all the societal influences coming in. The male, I don't even know what kind of stereotype it is, but macho kind of mentality and the whole guns and Harleys and boobs and beer thing, right? I was being influenced by society, particularly an environment that I was pretty surrounded in, and that was this environment of the veterans who subscribe to this kind of subculture. And it's okay as long as you're authentic. It's when you start stepping outside your authenticity to fit into that group that we find that things start kind of being more problematic. All right. So ultimately, I want you to think about today's Tears Day. And for those of you who are just joining the show, we will be off the air for the rest of the week, as I will be traveling and going down south for a couple of days, and then we'll be back again on Money's Day to embrace the mental control of money. But while you're thinking about the end of this week and thinking about the wisdom of Wotan, the strength of Thor, and certainly the energy and the management and the magic of Freya, I want you to think about you, your journey, your path. What do you want? What makes you, what brings you joy and peace and harmony? What does that for you? And a lot of times that's going to involve some intrinsic reflection or meditation, right? So think about who you are, what makes you happy, and stop measuring yourself against others' bar. Don't measure yourself against their measuring stick. You are on a unique journey through this existence. So embrace that uniqueness. Find your authentic self and find joy, find harmony and peace within the self. Loving yourself first and others around you in very quick succession, right? All right, so I hope that you will take today as an example, using the God tier as your example, role model, if you will, to embrace your authenticity, have courage to counteract those influences and become who you really are. Measure yourself against your own measuring stick. All right? I wish you the very best Tears Day and the remainder of the week. Again, we will see you again on Mani's Day. Love and light. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Watching for Felina's Belly Snake, a special production of Whispers of the Norse. Brought to you by the Alaska Wolf Hefnar in South Central Alaska. Guidance and wisdom, courtesy of an ancient Celtic Norse shaman. Thank you so much for joining us today.